I didn't see in you the pain you were going through. Sometimes you're sad and cry, and I don't know why. Things on your mind don't leave behind. Get it out, talk, don't shout, share it about what's in your head. I do mine, lend you my ear, don't be shy. Warren Graham, we salute. Warren Graham, we salute. In the marches you did go, a fallen we soldier, you always be so. So let the drones roar, I wanna hear more. Play won't play in the heavens, they say. That's a good tune, you'll never let us down. Angels play harps, my wee boy at the gates of joy plays his pipes for the gods to say. Here's a dream for a bonny wee man, a bonny wee man. I've been playing since 10, the chanter. Wasn't till 12, the voice in my head said the pipes are not dead. So I stuck in my challenge is to win a championship one day. Wasn't long till I became, for all to see, I can walk free on the street. Bagpipes and arm, blow the chant of food bag. Drones will scream, shout, look out, Cutie Piper bow. Oh, Cutie Piper bow. So let the drones roar, I wanna hear more. Play won't play in the heavens, they say. That's a good tune, you'll never let us down. Angels play harps, my wee boy at the gates of joy plays his pipes for the gods to say. Here's a dream for a bonny wee man, a bonny wee man. Be free and loud, let your heart play out. Let the drone soar, have neighbors banging at the door. A problem shared is a problem halved. Don't suffer alone, there's help on the phone. Don't bottle it up, no need to shut up. Let it all out, yell and tell. You have your friends round in the streets, they'll say, do you hear the Kitty Piper? Playing a tune for everyone to come round. We wore in a piper till the end. We wore in a piper till the end. A piper till the end. So let the drones roar, I wanna hear more. Play won't play in the heavens, they say. That's a good tune, you'll never let us down. Angels play harps, my wee boy at the gates of joy plays his pipes for the gods to say. Here's a dram for a bonny wee man. So let the drums roar, I wanna hear more. They wanna play in the heavens, they say. That's a good tune, you'll never let us down. Angels play harps, my wee boy at the gates of joy plays his pipes for the gods to say. Here's a dram for a bonny wee man, a bonny wee man.
I'd like to dedicate this recording to a well-known Scottish radio host known all over the world, one of the greatest I've heard, who's sadly recently passed away. I dedicate this tune to you, Kev Baker.
Good evening, everyone. As you've seen, we've started a little bit different than we would normally do. Welcome to the show. But basically what we wanted to do is pay homage to someone that has been taken from us way too soon. He had some demons and he sadly lost the fight. He will be missed and he will be remembered by us all. Warren Graham, Kelly Piper. Yeah. Next to that, I want to welcome everybody to the show. First, let me introduce the panel for tonight. Anita King, welcome back.
Yeah.
And our founder, Mr. James Scott. How you doing, mate?
I'm fine, Raimond. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Been a hectic week. A lot of things going on, and then you hear news like this as well. And it will be our first topic is to talk about Warren. Maybe a little bit more in general of people that are dealing with the same kind of trauma that Warren's been dealing with. It's something that it's rarely really talked about, but some mental health issues and you know, depression mostly in this case. It's something that can be, how do you say that, all the things that going on in your life can add on to that. And it's sad that we lost somebody so young in his life. It's always sad to lose somebody, but he was a known face at the marches, and I sadly have never met him. But when we lose somebody of a family, no matter how, if you met him, no matter how old or how young, it's somebody of our family that has passed on. Now, it's said that Thomas couldn't be here; he had to work, but he had been in contact with Warren's family, and we want to tell the family that he will be in our thoughts. And thanks to Thomas, we were able to show you that great song, that great rendition to Warren, and we will always be thinking of him. And yeah, James, what was your thoughts when you first heard the news?
Well, I like yourself, I didn't really know Warren, I never got to meet him, but I was aware that he was at quite a lot of the marches. Once again, we're talking about this subject, the depression, the mental health issues. And quite honestly, the last couple of years, because of this COVID situation, the issues regarding mental health and people suffering from depression have gone through the roof. I've heard of other people, young people, who have unfortunately committed suicide because they just can't cope with the things that's going on. And I find it particularly sad that even school children, they don't know what the hell's going on. It's a strange world that we're living in now. I've heard about children, they would cough in the classroom once and they get sent home because they thought they had COVID. I mean, when's it going to end? People can cough for lots of reasons. It doesn't mean that they'll get COVID. Just like Anita was coughing earlier, but she said it was smoking.
We've been coughing and sneezing all our lives.
Yeah,
it's just the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The thing is, yes, it added on to existing conditions of mental health and depression the last two and a half years. But the thing is, next to that, we have all the budget cuts, all parts of the NHS that could help people like Warren are being sold off, and that's another issue that adds on to that, to the problem. And we've been talking about that for ever, about that. And what can you do? Well, first thing we need to do is get independent. Independence for Scotland is key in so many things.
Definitely.
And Anita, what was your initial?
Well, it's an absolute tragedy.
Yeah.
An absolute tragedy. I never met Warren, but I saw him plenty times at the marches, keeping everybody upbeat with his, playing his pipes and everything, and it's just so tragic. Like I say, I didn't ever talk to him, but I had a wee tear in my eye when I heard the news. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's this mental health. I mean, the youngins with mental health problems are having to wait months and months and months and months before they can even get an appointment to see anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
It just isn't good enough.
No.
And it's getting worse all the time. There's well, a lassie in Kirkcaldy here did the same thing just a couple of weeks ago. 16 or 17-year-old. It's all over the place. It's terrible.
It's dreadful, absolutely.
It is. And something really needs to be done about it. All these young people losing their lives. It is. It's just an absolute tragedy.
And it's not just a problem here, it's a problem worldwide.
It is worldwide, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, of course, in certain situations, in certain countries, it might be a bit worse, but it is a worldwide, dare we say, pandemic. It is something, and the thing is, it's so easy to say somebody or to tell somebody, well, all you basically need to do is to talk to them and be there for them, but that's not the case. They need professional help, and there are people that have been trained for it. And when those people get budget cuts and they simply cannot be there, or there are not enough people, you know, it all adds on to it, and they down south claim, you know, claim everything and take the money. For them to be able to claim everything, they take it from the ordinary working folk, and it's simply sad, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
In the next couple of weeks, when Thomas is on, we're gonna do a more broader topic of mental health, and, you know, come back to this, because we do need to talk about it. It needs to be talked about more, in my opinion, and
Definitely.
so we will get back to it, and we'll probably have Thomas to lead on that. He has wrote a song about mental health as well, so we're probably going to play that, and we're probably going to play it. We are going to play that. Let me put it that way. So again, to Warren's family, he will be in our thoughts always. He's one of our own, and rest in peace, my friend. Let's you don't want to move on really from it, but we do have to, regarding the time frame that we have in the show, of course. The second topic that we want to talk about is some events coming up from the Scottish Resistance, and I want to give the floor to James. There are some events coming up and some other things that we have planned during the year, of course. You want to start us off, mate?
Right, well, there's a number of events that we've got coming up. We had a Scottish Resistance meeting yesterday, and we decided at that meeting that it's time that Scottish Resistance get back out doing what we do best, protesting. We are Scotland's main protest group. There's no doubt about it. Over the years, we've done more protests than any other group. We are going to do protests regarding the hike and these power charges. It's absolutely extortionate that they're going to hike up power charges up to 50%. And even worse than that, they're conning the people with this. Oh, but we're going to give you £200. £200 got to be repaid. So it's going to get to a stage where it's going to put poorer people further in debt, because they're paying higher electricity bills and having to find money to repay the loan that's been given out. And there have been statements said that this loan is illegal. You cannot force a loan on somebody. But this is what this British government are going to do. They're going to force loans on people.
I would suggest to leave at least some of that information for the last topic, because basically that comes up in the last topic as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, it just gets you so angry.
I know. Same here, mate. Same here.
Yeah.
Events, yeah.
So we're going to do a lot more protests. We're going to go out in the streets and do protests. That's what we do best, protests. Regarding historical events, we're coming up to the anniversary of the massacre of Glencoe. Now, usually that is a SRSM event, Scottish Republican Socialist Movement, but it's just not going to happen this year. The way things are with the SRSM, it's not going to happen. So the Scottish Resistance have quickly reorganised to have an event to remember Glencoe. But at this short notice, because we're only just about a week away now from the anniversary of Glencoe on the 13th of February, we have decided just to have mark the event in Glasgow, just to explain to people at the event what actually occurred at Glencoe, how the Brit government instructed the massacre of everybody under 70, men, women and children. One of lots of atrocities that the Brits have carried out over the years. And I know people get upset about the burning of the so-called Union Jack, but quite honestly, anybody with any morals who has looked at the amount of death and destruction where that symbol has been used and planted after they've carried out their atrocities. Anybody with any morals should be wanting to burn the bloody thing, quite honestly. So normally the SRSM burn what I call the imperial rag every Glencoe memorial. So I know that some people might be against it, but we're going ahead and doing it. We're going to burn the rag because it is a symbol of death, destruction, oppression, robbery. It's a disgusting piece of trash, and we're going to burn it on Glasgow Green on the 13th of February, the anniversary of Glencoe. And the words to carry out that atrocity were actually written on a playing card, a card that's called The Curse of Scotland, the 9 of Diamonds. And it says, "You are hereby ordered to fall upon the rebels, the MacDonalds of Glencoe, and put all to the sword under 70. That was the instruction to go ahead and kill the MacDonalds. It was the beginning of the end of the Highlanders, that, by the way. That was the first step the Brits took to totally wipe out the clan system, which was finally destroyed later on at Culloden. But that was the first steps they took. And the clan system worked well when we defended Scotland. Even though all the clans fought amongst each other, they always came together to defend Scotland when we were invaded. So I'm one of these people that don't get put off with all the infighting that goes on, because when the time comes, everybody that's for independence will have to get together and fight to free this country again. So we're going ahead next week, right on the day, on 13th of February, a Massacre of Glencoe. We're going to do it on Glasgow Green, and hopefully we can get some people along there to listen to what actually took place there. There'll be a few speakers there. So that's next week, 13th of February. The week after that, 20th of February, we're doing the annual Matt McGinn event. This is to remember the famous folk singer Matt McGinn. We've got lots of singers for this. I've been working hard on this. I've managed to get a lot of singers for this event. We've also got a piper. So we're going to start with the piper at the plaque to Matt McGinn, which is in Ross Street on the old Burnt Barns pub. On Ross Street, a few years ago now, we got that plaque put up there to remember Matt McGinn, one of these blue plaques to the memory of Matt McGinn, because he was actually born in Ross Street, where the plaque is, just across the road from where the plaque is. Used to be a series of houses there, and he was born in the house just across the street. He was the 8th of 9 children. He's probably one of the most prolific songwriters that Scotland has ever had. He's wrote up to 400 songs and poems. Only Robbie Burns wrote as many. Absolutely fantastic amount of work they went through in his short life, because his life was cut short. He had, this is another man who had demons, by the way. It's a strange thing. A lot of people that have got talent seem to have suffered from depression, alcoholism, and they do have problems. There's nobody perfect, and this man did have his problems. But we will be going there to remember Matt McGinn on the 20th of February at the old Burnt Barns, which is in the corner of Ross Street and London Road in Glasgow. So come along if you can. No entry fee, by the way. Even though we've got lots of singers, good entertainers, there's no entry fee. Come along and have a good day. It's always a good day for the Matt McGinn event. So that is on the 20th. Now, a week later, on the 26th of February, we are going through to Rosalind to remember the Battle of Rosalind. This is one of the forgotten battles of Scottish history. But when you look into it, what an amazing thing it was. There was 2 leaders of the army, the Red Comyn, who was a rival of Robert the Bruce, and Simon Fraser, two Scottish patriots, led the Scottish army of 10,000. And in the history books, it says there was 30,000 English, and they split into 3 groups of 10,000. And the Scots 10,000 took on the first 10,000 of English, and they won the battle. Then they took on the second division of 10,000 English, and they won that battle. And they took on the third division of 10,000, they won that battle. That's when Scotland used to beat England all the time, just like they did at rugby the other day there. And yesterday as well, by the way, they won the World Seniors Dart competition. It was a Scotland-England affair. And what happened was a Scotsman beat an Englishman in the final of the World Senior Darts tournament. Right, back to the event. This event is a brilliant event, the Battle of Rosalind, because we go to 3 different sites. We go to Rosalind Chapel, the mysterious Rosalind Chapel. There's a lot of history behind this. It's regarding the Knights Templar. There's been psychics have gone into this place, and they say there's something about this place. They stand in the doorway and they're picking up frequencies. They say it's like a frequency to another dimension. There's something very mysterious about this chapel, Rosalind Chapel. Now, anybody that's watched the Da Vinci Code, the movie with Tom Hanks, will know about this, because a lot of the scenes were filmed there. You can actually go to the spot in Rosalind Chapel where Tom Hanks stood, and it's an amazing place to visit if you ever get a chance to go to Rosalind Chapel.
It is.
So that's the first point of that particular event. We then move on to Rosalind Castle. Now, at Rosalind Castle, there were scenes of the Da Vinci Code done there as well, Rosalind Castle. And I can take you to the exact spot where Tom Hanks stood there in Rosalind Castle. Now, when you go to Rosalind Castle and you look down, it's one of the highest castles in Scotland. You can look right down into the valley below. It's absolutely unbelievable view you have there. So we go there to Rosalind Castle after we've been to Rosalind Chapel. And then finally we go back down and we go to the Rosalind Battle Cairn, where the battle took place that I explained earlier. It's one of our best events with the Scottish Resistance is the Battle of Rosalind RaLei. And if you can come along, please come along. It's a great event. So that's basically it for February. That's events for February. And we're looking for activists. We need some activists now, because we've got to fight this bloody hike in electricity in a country that's bloody pumping electricity and water over the border, charging our people exorbitant amounts for electricity, and then paying billions to the shareholders of these power companies. It's disgusting greed, and it's going to push a lot of people into poverty.
Definitely.
So, activists, if you're out there, come and join the resistance. Please come and join us.
Definitely. I just want to acknowledge everybody in the chat. Alex Adam, Mandy Garden, somebody named Anita King, I don't know, but just kidding. Margaret McGovern, some weird guy named Raimond Dijkstra. Lillian Evans, Anne McGinn, Anne-Marie O'Donnell.
Thomas MacArthur.
I'm not done yet. Maggie Morton, Harry Wilson, Arthur Macmillan, Colin McDonald, David Eakins, Kirsten Duncan, Ian Middleton, Leslie White, Thomas MacArthur. There you go. Charles Dye. Yeah, Evan's already mentioned. I think I already mentioned. Andy McCretton, if I pronounced that correctly. Tony Reddington, David Langslow, Christopher Clark, Russ Young, Pat Bannon, Bob Matthewson, Helen O'Donnell, Diane White, Jeff Lamb, and Jim Murhead. There you go. Again, great to have you all on again. I want to continue, James, again, yourself, with This Week in History.
Right, This Week in History. This week I'm going to talk about John Comyn, the Red Comyn. He was a rival to Robert Bruce. Now, we're coming up to the anniversary of the death of the Red Comyn, which was on the 10th of February in the year 1306. Now, what you've got to remember is this was a year after William Wallace was executed in 1305. In 1306, the king had abdicated, John Balliol. He was known as Tomb Tabard, Empty Court. This was a man that was appointed by Edward I. He abdicated and handed the crown over to Edward I of England. So John Comyn, or the Red Comyn as he was known, was the rival to Robert the Bruce. These people had links and had a claim on the throne. So it was decided they would meet at Greyfriars Church in Dumfries to decide who the best person would be to be King of Scots. And notice I say King of Scots. There's never been a King of Scotland, by the way. It's always been King of the people. Scotland's kings and queens have always been King or Queen of the people, hence Mary Queen of Scots. Anyway, they decided to have a meeting in a church. Obviously, the church idea was that you can't spill blood in a church. Sanctuary, if you like. So they met in Greyfriars Church in Dumfries on the 10th of February 1306. Unfortunately, an argument ensued because it was obviously a heated debate took place because of the subject that one of these two men were going to be King of Scots. The story is very unclear about what happened. Either one of them or two of them had a knife, because the Red Comyn ended up being stabbed to death. A lot of people says that he was murdered by Robert the Bruce. A lot of people say two of them had a knife and a fight broke out. Robert the Bruce won the fight. Now what you find is people with the surname Bruce say, oh, it's just a fight, Bruce won. People with the surname Cummings, the name Cummings comes from Comyn. They always say that Comyn was murdered by Robert the Bruce. So on 10th of February, the Comyn was killed, the 10th of February 1306, at Greyfriars Church. Now, the church no longer exists, but on the spot where this happened is a bloody Greg's Bakery. Greg's Bakery. And there's a blue plaque, one of these blue plaques on the wall to the spot where the Red Comyn was killed. Now, what we've got to remember is all the infighting that's going on just now, folks, between indie supporters. It's the same back then. Robert the Bruce and the Red Comyn were rivals. They were both patriots. You can't take it away from them. They're both patriots. Because I mentioned earlier the Battle of Rosalind. It was John Comyn, the Red Comyn, who led the Scots at the Battle of Rosalind. He led an army of 10,000, defeated an army of 30,000 English at the Battle of Rosalind. He was a patriot, and it was very sad that he died under such circumstances. But life's not fair, never has been, never will be. He was killed, and the Bruce ended up being crowned King of Scots. But years later, the Bruce did go on to regain Scotland's independence. Now, it's interesting on his deathbed that Robert the Bruce did say that he was regretted all the people that had been killed in the fight to regain Scotland's independence. So it's interesting that he did say that. He knew a lot of people had died younger than they should have because of all the wars and all the infighting during the fight to get Scotland independence. So I find that very interesting. I think the Bruce was a very, very interesting character in Scottish history. And quite honestly, no wonder they buried the man in a cloth of gold. What a patriot he was. Anyway, that's the story of the Red Comyn. he was a patriot, and he had an unfortunate end on the 10th of February in the year 1306. But 3 years earlier, he led the Scots to a great victory at the Battle of Rosalind.
Definitely. Well, another paper in here that will always be remembered for sure. The next topic, or should I say the next two topics, basically go hand in hand. So one might say it's just one topic. Well, let's first touch on the pathetic ongoing Boris show. Let me just put it that way. It's just well, I wouldn't say amazing, but it's just unbelievable that he keeps getting the support that he needs to stay in power. You know, power is, you know, I don't know if I would call it power, but more and more people are turning away from him, like people from his own party even. And but will it be enough? Will enough people turn away from him for him to be ousted, basically, from the party and from his position? From what I've, like, a third needs to oppose him or something. What was it? What was the number? Or 50%, or what was it? James, you know?
I think it's going to be about a third, yeah.
A third, yeah. So is it going to be enough? I don't know. But it's just unbelievable. Like, there was I don't know her name, but I saw this interview with this blonde lady.
Nadine Dorris.
Yeah, and she was no. He always speaks the truth. He always speaks the truth. Yeah, right. It's been proven that he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Tory trait that they don't. So basically, you saying that proves us right. You are a bunch of liars. But it's one good thing that we saw, whether you are an SNP supporter or not, is was it Ian Blackford holding his ground, you know, sticking to his words and not taking them back like he was basically told to. And before he was sent off, he walked off. I think he did well there. I mean, he didn't take his words back that Boris was lying. He actually said it, so I think that was a good thing. Anita, what do you think?
Well, it's a big circus doing there.
It is.
With Boris the Clown.
Yeah.
And how many resignations there's going to be?
Definitely.
But there's people resigning, but there's as many people willing to jump into their shoes. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. He should resign, but at the same time I don't want him to resign, because we'll end up with somebody worse. Yeah. Somebody more plausible, somebody more competent, and probably far more right wing.
And let's be fair. He is one of the best things that is happening for the Scottish independence movement.
Definitely. He's a great advocate for it.
How absolutely nuts that sounds. It is. He actually is.
Mm-hmm. But when this circus is going to end, I don't know.
Thomas just said, yeah, the whole SNP should have walked out then to back in Blackford.
I think he's right.
Yeah.
I think Thomas is absolutely 100% right there. They need to bloody do. It's about time they walked out a lot more. We've really got to disrupt this bloody Westminster Parliament. It's in our shambles now. And if the SNP keep walking out, then it's going to show that there's something severely wrong with that corrupt Westminster Parliament.
Definitely.
Well, I would say if people can't see that there's something severely wrong with it already, there must be something wrong with them.
They can. Honestly, I look at a lot of these so-called vlogs, these videos of people down south, and you always see the abuse that Ian Blackford got by the English down south, because they thought it was a terrible thing to say that to Boris Johnson, call him a liar. They actually believe this guy's telling the truth. I mean, what planet are these people on?
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Definitely. It is ridiculous. But a couple of weeks ago, there was this Tory MP that changed size, changed benches, and I know it's just a image thing that he did, of course, but I mean, it should tell you something. Even the people down south, that should tell you something. But even the regular people on the street are getting fed up with Boris.
Mm.
One thing to remember, folks, is politicians.
Yeah.
Politicians, no matter what party, they will turn on each other and backstab each other. One of their greatest leaders was Margaret Thatcher. She was a great politician, I've got to say that, but her policies were absolute shite towards the ordinary people with ordinary working class. So Hitler was the same. He was a great politician, but he was a complete evil so-and-so. He was a good politician. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to speak and get the support of so many millions of people. I mean, they're good politicians and they do command a lot of support. Boris Johnson is now just clinging to power.
Yeah.
There are people in that Tory party are planning to stab him in the back. It's only a matter of time now before somebody else steps in and becomes the new Tory leader.
I do really think that it's not just stabbing in the back, but it's saving their own asses.
Yeah.
Self-preservation.
Definitely.
Yeah, they did it to Thatcher. They got together and brought Thatcher down, and she was in power for a long time. They're turning their own.
And she actually knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
She was competent.
Yeah. She's still a hack, but she didn't know what she was doing.
She was a nasty person, but she was a good politician.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, that brings us to the second part of the same topic, really, and that's the scam taxes, the tax claims. Like 4 billion been claimed. That's what I've heard from Thomas. Basically, they claim everything that they, like dinners, travel expenses,
breakfast as well, by the way.
Exactly. Everything, even as silly as a pen.
Yeah.
Do you
know? And they get 3,500 for their energy costs.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But the thing,
so these energy hikes won't bother them.
Yeah.
No, not in the slightest.
Yeah,
but they're still going to get their £200 as well.
Yeah, but they're charging the people less fortunate. They basically charge them extra for them to finance their own greed. And what do you think, James, on that whole tax scam claims?
It's absolutely scandalous. See, an MP, right? An MP doesn't need to touch their wages. They just need to stick them away in a bank account every month, because everything is paid in expenses. So the minute they get up in the morning, I think they've got about 30 or 40 quid to spend on breakfast. You or I ever spent 30 or 40 quid on a breakfast? Come on. And then they've got money to spend on dinners. If they're going out anywhere, they've got money to spend on that. All the travelling expenses are paid. In fact, absolutely everything that they want is paid in expenses. Even second homes are paid in expenses. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And we have not only got to change these buggers in power, we've got to change the system. Because we don't want to have independence and have the same shite system where we're paying these people exorbitant amounts of money in wages and expenses, while we have good people, doctors, nurses, working for low wages. It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and that's something I'm not sure if we talked about it on this show, but we did on the other show. One of the things that basically helps doing that is that there's no constitution. There isn't. And what the first thing that needs to happen after independence is that a constitution, or maybe even before that, is that a constitution needs to be drawn up to, stop stuff like that from ever happening again in a independent Scotland. Anita?
No, the Tories just, there's no constitution, so they just make it up as they're going along.
Exactly.
It's something else was ridiculous. But anyway, this 4.3 billion fraud that's been written off was these clusters of companies that probably weren't the real companies claiming COVID money, like furlough, etc. And it was actually 5.8 billion, but they've written off 4.3 billion of it.
It's horrendous.
How did you do that?
I mean, this was money.
There's no control.
Given to these companies. It was given to these companies who were supposed to provide PPE equipment, which was never ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell did these fraudulent bloody deals? And why have we not got a bloody police force that are neutral and are able to investigate it? They're working hand in hand with the Tories.
Mm-hmm.
They're corrupt. At the very top of the police are corrupt. I'm not saying your ordinary policeman in the street is corrupt, because what we experienced years ago when we went to the police to regarding a war criminal case, it goes higher up the ladder, and it goes higher up the ladder, it just gets dismissed.
Mm-hmm.
So high up the ladder, I don't trust them. This Cressica Dick who runs the Metropolitan Police, she's freaking well in with all the fucking families in the fucking Tory party.
Aye.
I mean, you just couldn't make this up. Then nothing will be investigated. And see this bloody Sue Gray report that she was going to look into the parties and all that. A civil servant is not going to say a bad word against a politician.
No.
I mean, we should have had somebody neutral doing that report. The whole system is as corrupt as you can get. I go as far as to say it's even more corrupt than bloody fucking Russia and China.
Well, definitely.
They are absolutely corrupt beyond bloody belief.
Well, there's only one thing we can do about it.
Kick them out.
Aye, get rid of it. Well,
Get activists though. You see plenty of bloody folk marching with a wee flag at it, and you see plenty of folk on Facebook arguing with each other, saying what they're going to do to independence. But actually getting bloody activists on the street is a different matter. But we're going to have to, folk. We're going to have to stand up while there's a Scotland still to fight for. Or they're going to take us for everything. And leave this country a barren wasteland.
Well, that's it. We need independence now. Not 2023 or 2026 or whenever.
Yeah.
We need it now.
Yeah.
Well, and
the Scottish Government are needing to do something right now. Nicola Sturgeon says she's got time on her side. How the hell has she got time on her side?
Because she's got nice wages and she's got a nice comfortable life. But the ordinary people on the street don't.
No. We've got water charges gone up. We have got national insurance gone up. There's a cost of living crisis, and the things that are going to be coming down the line is just unbelievable. Inflation's gone up and up and up. Mortgages are going to go up and up and up. The housing market is going to stagnate or maybe even crash.
Well, I do have to say one thing on the inflation stuff. That's everywhere. I mean,
but
over here, for instance, the inflation side, our electricity bills and gas bills are skyrocketing as well because of it, and that's everywhere. The thing is, here in Holland, might be for a different reason. The thing is with up north, there's a large gas field in the ground in northern province where they had to stop because it caused a lot of earthquakes, and now they are saying we're gonna open it up again, and basically that's one of the things that caused the higher prices, because the reserves are running low. But right now they are talking about starting it up again. For one, to restock the reserve that we have, so to cut the prices. But another thing is that Germany asked for our gas. Now, why should we risk earthquakes where people actually live to deliver somebody else? And I'm saying I'm against helping out Germany. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, should your priorities lie with your people than lining your pockets, basically. That's always the case.
Well,
and that's,
you're
and
right,
that's all
Stephen.
fair.
You've got to think about your homeland first.
Yeah,
You've got to.
definitely. And that's why it's so important that Scotland gets its independence.
Yeah.
No
I was
doubt
reading
about it.
today that the French government have stepped in with the energy crisis in France, and their bills are only going to rise by 4%.
Yeah, I saw
Our
that.
bills are rising by 56%, and we're being forced to pay a £200 loan that we've got to pay back over the next 5 years.
You couldn't make it up.
And that's it.
And this is a country that is rich in making energy. We make a lot of
Aye.
electricity here in Scotland. And we're self-sufficient in electricity. We make so much of it, we're pumping it all over the border.
We can
along with
sell it
the-
off. Aye.
I think
Yeah.
about 40% of the renewable energy goes down south.
Yeah.
So why in hell? That's just another example of how Scotland is getting robbed. It's just another one of those examples. 40% of Scotland's renewable energy goes down south. Then how in hell are the prices going up?
We've got to pay to put it on the national grid, and then they charge us
Yeah, but
for getting it back again.
40% of renewable energy goes down south. We give it to them. Scotland gives it to them.
And you've got to remember,
No, it's taken. Probably it's taken as well. But
Taken.
You've
same
got to
with the
remember
oil. Same with the oil.
Scotland's a colder country than England, a lot colder. So our bills are normally higher. I mean, quite honestly, folks, wouldn't it be great if global warming was true, and then we could have temperatures like the Canary Islands instead of the freezing temperatures we get here?
Aye, that would be great.
But it's another bloody big myth. It's bloody freezing here in Scotland now. But this time of the year, they shut up about the global warming. It starts again once we get into summer. We'll start it up again.
Not going there. I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah, I know you're not going there, but you ought to do some research, man.
Yeah, but we talked about that. You believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe.
I've
And there's
investigated
no.
it.
Yeah, but I do the same thing. But I believe what I want to believe. You believe what you want to believe. And I'm not saying that I am right. I'm not saying that you're right. I'm just saying,
Agree to differ.
exactly. Well, we've come to the end of the show. We're past the hour. I want to go for the final comments, of course, Anita.
Right.
Wanna hear
Final
yourself first.
comments are: we need independence now.
Exactly.
It's urgent. What are we going to do about it?
Get it.
For every ill that there is in Scotland, independence is the answer. And we need it now. We haven't got time to wait. And that's about it.
Definitely.
Now.
Definitely. Well, my final comments is just it's basically the same. We do need independence for Scotland, but we need each other. We need each other to do it. It's not like I am going to get independence for Scotland, but I don't want to do it with that person. No, we need each other. Afterwards, you can do what you want to do. You can like or dislike who you want to like or dislike. It does not matter. Well, it matters if it's, you know, if you're close to, to those people, but it doesn't matter. Independence is the main goal, which we all should fight for. And so, you know, leave your egos at the door, get independence done. And that's all I want to say now. James, final comments.
Well, as Anita and Raimond said, we need independence now. I've got to tell you something, folks. See, when you go over to Alaska, one of the states in America, it's oil rich. Nowhere near as oil rich as Scotland, but every year, every citizen in Alaska gets paid $2,000 in their hand, a dividend from their oil revenue. Now, Scotland is the richest country in Europe in terms of oil, yet we don't get a single penny. Now, most people don't understand the total amount of revenue that's involved. They could quite easily pay every citizen in Scotland £5,000 per year from the oil revenue, and that's just fucking chicken feed. 5,000 a year dividend from oil revenue. But under Westminster robbers, you will get nothing.
Amen.
Not only that, they're bloody well charging a fortune for electricity that we produce and giving these rich, fat bastards billions, and I mean billions, in bonuses. I'm not talking about their salaries are big enough as well, but they're giving them billions in bonuses. They're robbing this country like nothing on earth. We need activists. Come out and join the Scottish resistance. And I've only got one more thing to say, folks. This is a Scottish resistance. We will never give up the fight for Scotland's freedom. Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone. See you
Good night.
next